Hello and welcome to WMLT News. I'm Bailey Gillespie. Michael Jackson's death may finally be vindicated after his doctor Conrad Murray was sentenced Tuesday. Murray was sentenced to 4 years behind bars for what Superior Court Judge Michael Pastor called horrific validation of trust. Murray will serve at least 2 years in a one-man cell kept away from prisoners. Direct Authority Steve Cooley stated that this will be a real test of our criminal justice system to see if it's meaningful at all. Cooley is considering asking Pastor to modify the sentence to classify the crime as a serious felony, warranting incarceration in state prison. Pastor said that Murray had repeatedly lied and not shown any remorse for his actions in the treatment of Jackson, and that the experimental medicine is not going to be tolerated. Murray will also have to pay restitution to Michael's 3 children. The exact amount will be determined in January. Jackson's family told the Associated Press that they were pleased with the results. Jermaine Jackson was quoted saying, "We're going to be a family. We're going to move forward. We're going to tour, play the music, and miss him." The official start to the holiday shopping season began with Black Friday sales, but not everyone wanted to brave the stores and their crowds to get the good deals, and chose alternatives. Chris Allen has more.
Cyber Monday, a more subtle version of Black Friday, allows for shoppers to get sales online without having to go out to the stores for their sales. It's the Monday after Thanksgiving. Sterling Snyder says he finds deals during Cyber Monday almost every year. This year, Toys R Us stores open at 9 p.m. Thanksgiving night. Walmart was right behind, starting sales at 10 p.m., leaving workers to cut their holidays short. With items at a fraction of the retail cost, shoppers often compete and unfortunately even fight over products. The crowds rushing to be the first one to snag a bargain have claimed lives over the past few years. For WMLT News, I'm Chris Allen in Athens.
Fayette County authorities have arrested 2 men who are thought to be involved in a ring of heating pumps thieves here in West Virginia. The thieves have been breaking into local churches and stealing their heating units. Fayette County Sheriff Steve Kessler said that they are tearing the heat pumps apart to get the copper and aluminum inside, which they are selling for scrap. The 2 men arrested, Clifford Eugene Taylor, 37, and Richard Marshall Peck, 36, both of Lookout, were stopped by police for having 2 heat pump units in the back of their pickup truck. Police say they do not know how many others will be involved in the theft ring. A ballet over a century old is taking on new life in Beckley with a 13-year-old dancer as the main character, Clara, in the Nutcracker. It will begin the audience's Christmas season with an expectational start, featuring local dancers ages 7 to 70. The Nutcracker will take the stage with its glittering costumes, majestic snow scenes, epic battle scene, and giant Christmas tree on December 2nd and 3rd, and December 4th at Woodrow Wilson High School. Guest stars from the New York City Ballet, Tara Lowry as the Sugar Plum Fairy and Adrienne Warning as Cavalier, will also be making an appearance. The show will not only usher in the Christmas spirit, but also the values of the 1892 Russia, when the Nutcracker first appeared on stage. Now with Concord Sports, here's Jared Klein.
Thank you. On November 14th, Sabrina McCullough stepped down as Concord University's head softball coach. McCullough was said to have gone over NCAA-approved practice hours numerous times. Concord is currently in search for a new softball coach. Concord football's dream season ended recently with a heartbreaking 17-14 loss to Cutson University in the Division II first round. Despite a good game defensively, the Mountain Lions turned the ball over 5 times, including 2 interceptions and 3 fumbles. Junior quarterback Zach Grossi threw for 338 yards on 33 completions, and senior running back Brian Kennedy rushed for 104 yards and on 31 carries. Wide receivers were led by Ryan Stewart, who hauled in 8 passes for 111 yards, and Tim Pitchard, who caught 9 receptions for 73 yards. Concord football graduates 11 seniors, including the WEVIAC Defensive Player of the Year, Joe Greenway, preseason All-American offensive lineman Brandon Link, and the Concord workhorse running back Brian Kennedy. Concord finished their season at 7-4 under the first-year head coach Garen Justice, who also claimed the WEVIAC conference title. Concord women's basketball team snapped a 5-game losing streak to Glenville State, the preseason #1 team in the WEVIAC shoulder of Josla Brown, who recorded her 32nd career double-double. Brown, a senior, scored 32 points and grabbed 12 rebounds to lead the Lady Lions to a 103-94 victory. The Lions will be back in action on December 1st, hosting Lee's McRae College of North Carolina. Tip-off is scheduled for 5:30. In national news, the NBA lockout has finally been lifted. The season is now scheduled to start on Christmas Day with 3 marquee matchups. The world champion Dallas Mavericks will welcome the Miami Heat into town, while the Lakers will host the Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks will welcome the Boston Celtics to Madison Square Garden. For more on Concord sports, please visit cumountainlions.com. Back to you all at the desk.
Stay tuned. We'll return with more WMLT news in just a moment. Welcome back to WMLT News. MSU nursing students may have to reconsider their plans. A national commission has denied Mountain State University's bid for accreditation of its undergraduate nursing program. Charles Polk, the president of Mountain State, announced the decision to the students Monday through email. The university has had similar problems in the past. Mountain State lost accreditation from another national body in October of 2010, the National League for Nursing Accreditation Commission. Currently, the undergraduate nursing program is still accredited with the West Virginia Board of Examiners for registered professional nurses. Also, the credits that the students have accumulated cannot be taken away and can be transferred to another institution. December 1st is World AIDS Day, and many people are trying to raise more of an awareness to this rising epidemic. HIV and AIDS has become more of a hush-hush topic, said Earl Thompson, who is one of the HIV fighters. This challenging epidemic has hit the Southeast much more than the rest of the country in the past years, with Jacksonville, Florida listed as the 5th highest number of AIDS diagnosis. Citizens in Florida are trying to shy away from the issues by taking down red ribbons, which are the logo for the cause, as well as moving any events associated with the AIDS out of the public eye. Although signs of HIV and AIDS have been hidden for so long from the public, the epidemic has continued to worsen and is still a major issue in many of the areas. The fear of never going to a college led to the death of an 18-year-old Texas student. Joaquim Luna shot and killed himself the Friday after Thanksgiving because he thought he would never attend college because he was in the country illegally. He had become frustrated that the DREAM Act had not been passed. The DREAM Act was put in place in order to allow young immigrants who have been in the country for 5 years to attend college or serve in the military. It failed in the Senate last December because 5 votes, and a new push for it this year also did not go very far. Illinois Senator Dick Durbin was one who was pushing for the new act. Durbin stated that the DREAM Act would make America a stronger country by giving these talented immigrants the chance of their full potential. After losing Earl Ray Tomlin in October's special election for governor, Bill Maloney is set to run for the governor again in 2012. Maloney has already filed pre-candidacy papers with the Secretary of State's office. Tomlin beat Maloney in the year's special election only by 2% of the vote. West Virginia Republicans are hopeful for next year's election due to the negative sentiment towards President Obama within West Virginia, and being that is the presidential election year. Here now with this week's Take It or Leave It is Dalton Paul.
Oh boy, where do I start? The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1. Does that mean there's going to be another one? Unfortunately, yes. Within the first 10 seconds of the film, we see Taylor Lautner take off his shirt and run in the rain. I suppose they had to keep that tradition alive. As we know, Bella Swan is about to marry her emotional vampire boyfriend, Edward Cullen. As predicted, it causes some controversy between some of the vampire family members, werewolves, and whatever else Stephanie Meyer spewed out on paper. However, I felt it extremely unnecessary to spend 45 minutes of the movie to show the wedding. I guess that's why they're making a part 2. I felt as if I was watching a Nicholas Sparks film adaptation rather than a vampire flick. I guess I should have learned my lesson from the first 3 Twilight movies. After the wedding, the young couple spend their honeymoon on a Brazilian island that pretty boy Edward just so happens to own. After consummating the wedding, within a few days, Bella finds herself pregnant. However, the vampire fetus is feeding on her insides, slowly killing her. As if Kristen Stewart didn't already look like a bag of bones, CGI effects were added to make her look like she was on the verge of death. The rest of the Cullens try to take care of her, while for some reason the vampires want to kill her. This causes Jacob, who is still desperately in love with Bella, to start his own one-man wolf pack. If you think that pun was bad, try watching any of the Twilight movies. Breaking Dawn Part 1 kept a tradition of laughable dialogue and terrible acting. Why are the actors so awkward? Why does Edward look like he's in pain all the time? Why is Jacob so moody? Although if you're able to make it through all of that nonsense, towards the end things get a little hardcore. During childbirth, Bella is in and out of consciousness while the vampire baby tries to eat its way out. Edward does everything he can to try to keep both Bella and the baby from dying. This includes cutting Bella open with a scalpel and drinking excess blood. This scene, in my opinion, was quite possibly the best out of all the movies. It has plenty of blood, decent cinematography, and actually resembled a good movie. It didn't show too much, and most of it was implied, but I believe that's what made it a good scene. The end of the movie, of course, ended in a cliffhanger to continue Part 2 of the final installment. If you're not a Twilight fan, it actually might be worth sitting through 100 boring minutes to see the ending of the film. However, if you are one of the 13-year-old girls or middle-aged women who enjoy Twilight, I couldn't convince you otherwise. Immortals was another big film that was on this past week. Theseus, a mortal man, was chosen by Zeus to lead the fight against Hyperion. The fight between good and evil is put on the big screen with Henry Cavill as Theseus and Mickey Rourke as King Hyperion. John Hurt, who also plays the old man, helps lead Theseus to his destiny as he trains him as a young boy through his manhood. Other Greek mythology figures appear throughout the movie, like Zeus, Poseidon, and Athena, who all help fight against King Hyperion's master plan. The movie is action-filled from beginning to end and will keep you on your toes throughout. It is now playing in 3D as well as 2D in your local theaters. Back to you at the desk.
That's all for this week's WMLT News and our last show of the semester. WMLT News will return again at the start of the new year in January. I'm Bailey Gillespie. Thanks for watching.